to the Say So podcast. My name is Kaitlin.
And I'm Darbi. So today we're going to talk about making plans. Any planners? Because I'm a planner. Okay, I like plans.
I'm
also
planner.
like you are.
Yeah.
So we are. Although you can't always tell it.
No, you can't. So.
But we're planners, and I love to set goals. Even like my favorite days off are the days that I can write out a list of things that I'm going to accomplish. Yes, and just go, yes, I did that. Even if it's like purposing, go to lunch with my husband or read a book for an hour. Like I love to write that stuff down and make sure, okay, I did these few things that I really intend to do for the day. But one thing the Lord has been really working on me about in the last week is the plans that I'm making. And the question he asked me even just this morning was, Darbi, is God the center of your plans? Am I the center of your plans, or are you?
That's a good question.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I was processing through why I've been so frustrated. Like literally every day there's something that I planned for and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I would find myself literally angry. I'm like, I'm so angry. I'll call Mike and I'm like, I'm so mad about this. I can't believe this did not go the way I wanted it to. My day is ruined. And he's like, Darbi, really? Is it even that big of it? And I'm like, no. But it's just the principle that it didn't go the way I wanted.
Yeah.
And so as I've been having these days, I had to stop and ask the Lord, like, okay, why is this bothering me so much?
Yeah.
Literally, who cares? It doesn't change my day. It's not eternal. It isn't life-threatening in any way. It's a control issue.
Yeah.
And so what I find when I am having these control issues, I have to go and ask the Lord, okay, why do I need control?
Yeah.
And usually that comes from a place of I'm not trusting the Lord completely.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's because I think I know the better way than he does.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you struggle with that?
I think from time to time I do. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know that it's a struggle I feel like I deal with constantly, but I think when there's like maybe bigger things in my life, then I feel like I kind of struggle with that. You know, I feel like I've had the same conversation with several people lately just about kind of being a control freak, about having, just knowing what they think the best way, the best outcome would be, and the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And really, I've had this talk in small group a lot, and I think the desire is always to not struggle with that.
Yeah.
You don't want to, but it's how you release it. That's it's really the big difference, and really the defining time is like, okay, I realize that I want to control this thing. I don't want to, so how do I not? Like, how do I like practically not want to control it all?
I know, because it's not just like a switch you can flip.
No, because when you get down to it, then you, like you said, you are saying basically that, you know, the way that I would do this or that thing is the best way. And if there's another way that it can be done, it's not the best way because I've thought it through. Like I've thought it through.
Yeah.
And it makes sense and it would be good and it would be right and the timing is perfect. I don't see why not. You know, but I do think sometimes when I think about that, I can just see the Lord saying like, you know, yeah, Kaitlin, that was a good plan. That was good. That was not bad. But he's like, you know, but really, like you just had your grip on it so tight.
Yes.
That I'm gonna actually, I'm not gonna allow that to happen. Maybe I would have if you would have submitted it to me and said, Lord, I think that this would be the best way. But because you were like, this is the best way, and don't let anybody get in my way. And if you do, I'm gonna let you have it.
Yes.
Then I didn't allow it to happen for you.
I think it's that grip.
Yeah.
That was kind of what he told me this morning too, was, Darbi, he was like, you have plans. And what you think my will is, you're not completely wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're purposing to know me, to know my words. So I do, I do think that you're trying to know, but you can't know the future.
Yeah.
Only I know the future.
Yeah.
And so I want you to shift your focus.
Yeah.
So you've got to loosen your grip.
Yep.
You know, when things are just so fast and sometimes and you can't turn to the left or the right. And he's like, I kind of got to shake you up a little in these little things so that you'll shift, because you are so determined.
Yeah.
That the plans that you've made, the things that you're doing, and it's happening even in the little daily things, and you're going, okay, who cares, God? Why can't it just happen the way I want? And he's like, but it's even in those. And so I'm trying to show you in the details that don't matter, that in the ways that it really does matter, I want to also have your submission.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's been true for me with leaders in my life. Yeah. And I think it is perceived as I have an authority issue, but it's not necessarily that I don't want to follow them. I just, in a lot of ways, think I know more than them or better. Like, especially if they're telling me things that I feel like I know for myself or for the people that I love. I'm like, no, I know this. And maybe I do. Yeah. But ultimately, what I've learned in the last few years is that regardless of what I do know to be true, I have to trust in God's sovereignty over all the situations. And that if he allowed my husband to be my husband, if he allowed my boss to be my boss, then regardless of a decision that I might think is not a good one, I have to trust that God is in it.
Well, and that's where, if you can go back to your first point of what the Lord reminded you this morning, like, is Darby in the very middle of it, or is the Lord in the middle of it? Because if you truly believe that the Lord's in the middle of it, then you believe that you are in the right place in his will at this right time. Yeah. So that means that you are underneath someone's, authority, or underneath their leadership for a purpose.
And really, underneath his authority. Right. Because he's allowed that leadership to have authority. Yeah. And I always remind myself, you will have authority to the extent you can come under authority. Yeah. You know, and so as I look at myself as a leader, whether it's in my home with my kids or with, my friends or my group, like, I do want to have a measure of spiritual authority, but I can only have that to the extent that I can come under it. Right. Yeah. And that's such a good challenge for me, especially.
Yeah. Well, even if you I think a lot of people who, you can tell, like, if you're sitting in on a conversation and there's an obvious, like, tension happening. Yeah. But you see someone that they, I'm thinking of, okay, if we have two people and this person is the technical leadership and this person is the one who's under this leadership. And really you think, like, this person, their idea is probably better, or it's the wiser decision. Yeah. But you see them really submit and just say, you know what, like, I'll trust you through this. And ultimately, Lord, like, I'm trusting who you've put me underneath, so I'm going to trust you through it. I feel like there's a lot of just humility there. Yes. And humility and control don't live in the same
you can't be both, really.
You can't be both. And so I think that you have to look in the moment and say, like, okay, am I trying to run this show, or am I choosing to be humble? And I think, I don't know, if our true intention is to truly be humble, then it's not a I told you so later on. It's a, well, okay, that decision was made, and maybe it was the right or wrong one. I don't know, but we'll move forward because I'm just trusting the process.
So I think then I had to ask the Lord, because I'm processing all of this with him as I am right now, even in this moment. But I had to say, okay, God, you made me a planner. Yeah. You're a planner. You love plans. God is a planner and a finisher. Yeah. And I want to be those two things too. So I have to say, God, if my desire is to plan and I'm trying to submit my plans to you, then why are you frustrating me in the plans? But I think God is always after our heart. Yeah. And so I think for me personally, it was, okay, then I want you to really search yourself and ask, why do you need the control? And if we're looking for control, it's usually fear-based. Yeah. I'm afraid of something. So then I have to say, okay, Darby, what are you afraid of? Yeah. Are you afraid of failure? Yeah. Are you afraid of not achieving things? Are you afraid of getting hurt or being vulnerable?
Or can we just say it like, I'm afraid that I made the wrong decision, and I thought I was for sure right on that. So I'm like, do I have a judgment issue? Yeah. Am I off? Am I thinking? Do I need to, like, reevaluate my thought process?
That's it. And I think a lot of times I do end up back in a place of, okay, I'm not being humble. Yeah. And that's hard because nobody really wants to say, oh, I wasn't being humble and I need to go humble myself.
Oh, shoot, like, maybe there's a little pride in me that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, who wants to say that? But honestly, if I'm really real with myself, I almost always go to that, and I have to say, okay, there's more pride I need to lay down with the Lord, and I need to, because God can only be in our presence when we're humble.
Right.
That's what the Bible talks about. When we're humble, He's there, and so when we're not humble, He can't be there. And so I think if I say, God, I want to be in Your presence, that's what I want more than anything. Great, then we got to deal with this pride.
Yeah.
And we've got to get you humble so I can be right there, so that your heart will be soft enough to hear what I want to tell you.
Well, do you think that somebody that, like we're talking about control, do you think that if someone really struggles with control, then they struggle with trust?
Oh, absolutely. Because I honestly believe every issue that you ever have with people or with the Lord, it always comes to trust. Yeah. I mean, for me in this, if you look at all of my journals, any issue I've struggled with, when I take it back to the very foundation, to the root of the issue, it is trust. And do you know why this is the issue? It's because trust can only come when you know someone. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so I don't think that most people really know the Lord. Yeah. My husband and I have this conversation literally all the time, because when one of us finds ourselves not trusting people, trusting the Lord, because ultimately God is in control, right? So if we blanket say God is in control and He is sovereign, then anything under that is what He's allowed. Mm-hmm. But it's so easy to trust when I know Him. I mean, it can be hard some days, even when I do know, because things don't work out the way we want. And so in our flesh, we're like, ooh, I don't know if I can trust God because He didn't do what I expected Him to do. But ultimately, it's trust.
It is.
But we don't purpose to spend enough time with Him sometimes. Yeah. To say that I know Him enough that even though this didn't work out, I know He's for me. Mm-hmm. That even though this isn't happening in my timeline, He's good and it will be good in the end. So I do think.
I do too. I had this kind of revelation, I feel like, this morning, just in my own quiet time. I woke up and I just went and sat in the living room, and we've got our Christmas tree on, and it's just like the best thing ever.
Isn't it? I wish I could leave a tree up all year long.
All the time. It just, I don't know, it does something for the mood. But I'm just sitting there. I've got my coffee. I've got my blanket. And I just felt like I sat with the Lord, and I just had this just realization that, we talked about last week, like there's that one thing that we're always praying for. Mm-hmm. Constantly. And so this morning I'm thinking about that thing that I'm praying for constantly. Mm-hmm. And I realized in a moment, like, that I don't know that I trust the Lord in that prayer. I don't know that He's actually going to answer my prayer in the way that I'm asking Him to. And I trust Him. I mean, I trust the big picture. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I feel like what I'm asking Him would be kind of a miracle for my own life or our own personal life. Like, it would be a big thing for Him to answer this prayer.
And like you don't deserve it, or like He just maybe won't, or you're trying to buffer your...
Well, it just like it'd be too good to be true.
Yeah, I get that.
Which, I don't know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, all of a sudden I feel almost embarrassed, like, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm praying this thing.
And it's not what you would tell anyone else,
that's
right?
What I was gonna say. I had this, I realized, like, I feel like I have faith for everybody else's prayers. I believe, like, I tell my friends, I tell our small group, hey, like, believe it. Ask the Lord for it. He knows the desire of your heart.
Pray bold prayers.
Yeah. But for me, I'm like, I don't know that He'll actually do that for me. And so I really, like, I journaled it, and I, like, literally I wrote out this, Lord, this is exactly what I want, and this is exactly what the desire of my heart is. I want it to be black and white. This is what I'm asking for You to do in my life. But then at the end, I said, there. Because I have to talk like I'm actually talking to the Lord. Okay, there.
Yeah, I do.
Those are my prayers. Lord, I lay them at Your feet, and I have faith that You will deliver what we need and beyond what we desire. Because I need to put that in my mind, like, this is what I'm desiring, Lord, and I listed it. Mm-hmm. But actually, I believe that You're going to do what we actually need.
Yes.
And then beyond what I'm hoping You do. Yeah. Because that's what He does. So, okay. And then I said, I trust You, and You know my heart. But above all, I pray that Your will would be done. And I had to settle that in my heart. Like, You know where I'm at on this, and I'm going to keep asking You for it. But I'm going to also my posture, right? We love that word. My posture is going to be, Lord, I lay it down. You know where I'm at on this. You know what I would love to happen. But above all, I just want your will to happen, you know? So I had this just realization, like I trust the Lord in the small things.
Yeah.
This is a great big thing for my own life.
Yeah.
I don't know that I actually trusted him in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that took me confessing that. It took me, saying, I'm so sorry, Lord, will you forgive me? And then I feel like moving forward, I have to keep that, that desire, that trust. But then also, we talked about steps all along the way through this podcast of you have to always be taking steps. And I feel like God's also said, and he's proven this time and time again, like if you will just continue to move forward with your desire, keep opening the doors. Because if it's not the thing, if I have actually something that's greater than that door, I'm going to shut it for you. But I want you to keep opening the different doors.
And make it clear.
Make it clear.
I always used to pray, frustrate the desires in me that aren't from you. Because I don't want to desire something that isn't of you. And I don't want to be somewhere where you're not. And so if this thing that I want so badly is not for me, then can you help me see what is for me? I remember praying that prayer a lot when I wanted a daughter. And so I've got 4 boys, and every time I would think, okay, God, you know how badly I want a daughter. And I remember when I found out with our 3rd son, that was the one that I really had to work through that, because I thought that was going to be, he was going to be the girl. And so when he was another boy, there was a grieving that had to happen for me, a grieving of all the dreams I'd had about us getting pedicures or these girl dates or her wedding. I just envisioned this life I would have with a daughter. And but as I went through that grief and said, okay, God, this is what I desired and this was my plan, but yours is different. And so God helped me see that. And then so a couple years later, I was in kids ministry. I'm always shouting out to kids ministry because it changed my life. But I was in kids ministry and I was worshiping, and there was all these little girls in my small group, probably 15. It was around Christmas. There was a lot of kids there. And we were worshiping and we were in small group just talking. And he said, Darbi, you will have many daughters. Many daughters, and I'm afraid if you just had one, you'd be so focused on her, you'd miss all the others. And so it was really in that moment that God totally just gave me a dream in my heart that was like, I love that you want a daughter, and you're going to have great daughter-in-laws, which I pray for them all the time, but I have so many daughters. And I love that perspective. That is abundantly more than what I imagined. Is it what I imagined? No, because it's more than that.
Right.
So I think sometimes, like you're saying, with even the specifics, like, don't think so small. I'm really wanting you to just get to a place where you'll let go of that grip. And I want you to see what I actually have for you.
I've been playing with the camera a lot lately. This is a new thing, and it's super fun, but I think about it a lot. We have this really huge lens that we use on Sunday mornings, and I love to zoom in really close on somebody. But, and you get when you zoom in, you get
a different perspective.
You get a different perspective. You get some clarity. You get, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I love getting, Pastor Hannah on the platform. I love having, people worshiping. I have their worship hands in the air, and then I'm zooming in on her, and I'm getting a moment with her. But then, so I'm watching her, but then if I were to zoom out, then I'm getting all of the worship hands in the air that are around her. So your perspective, it literally widens and you get the full picture. So if you're telling a story of what a Sunday morning looks like in worship to the Lord, I can show you a really personal, clear picture of one moment of someone, of one person. But I can also show you what's happening in the peripheral, what's happening in the whole room.
That's so good.
And I feel like I have to always, I literally in my mind have to be okay, let's get this big perspective here.
Well, that's what I've just been hearing for the last couple weeks in my spirit is just shift your focus.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that even as you're saying that about the lens, the focusing.
The focusing.
And how you've got to zoom in and zoom out and go wider and go narrow. And you have to kind of be able to do both. For the moment. And so that the word shift means to move or cause to move from one place to another. And this is important, especially over a small distance. And I think that's so key because it's not about completely, when things don't go the way we want, it's like, well, fine, God, then I don't want that at all. And we go 180. And he goes, I didn't want you to go 180. I wanted you to you're so close. I just need you to go a little 5 or 10 degrees.
Or even if you think about in terms of a camera, when you are focusing, there's a moment where there's a complete blur. You can't make out. You can tell, okay, I'm looking at a person, but I don't know if this is a woman or a man. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But they're like literally just a tiny, tiny movement and everything is crystal clear. I feel like we don't have to throw away. I don't have to throw away this big desire that I have. But sometimes maybe I just need to just like shift a little bit.
That's it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is such a God moment. Yeah. Do you feel this?
Yeah.
This is a word. Thank you, Lord. Well, I had that Christmas song come in my mind this morning because I'm sitting in the same place, my chair, my blanket, and the Christmas tree. Yeah. And that song...
It's an anointed moment, obviously.
Clearly, they're happening. And the verse in that song that says, let every heart prepare him room.
Yeah.
And I just had that in my heart because my word for this year has been prepare.
Yeah.
And as I was thinking about the plans and how we prepare, we make plans, and that's a good thing. God wants us to plan. The Bible talks a whole lot about making plans, having wise counsel, submitting those to the Lord. It's good to have plans because planning allows us to prepare for things that we can control, and it helps you steward your time and gifts and resources.
Yeah.
But in the planning and in the preparing, I think he's showing me at the end of this year as I'm wrapping up what that word means for me. There were a lot of full circle moments for me this year that God wrapped up, that God brought together. And in the meantime, what was I doing? I was preparing my heart.
Yeah.
And so the song says, let every heart prepare him room. And so in the coming of Jesus, that was the song that was singing when he was born, and I believe it should be the song of our heart as he returns, that every heart needs to prepare him room, and our plans have to make room. What you said, loosen the grip on your schedule.
Yeah.
Loosen the grip on what you expected to have happen with a relationship, with your family this Christmas, about the traditions that we've set. Like, this has to happen. We've done it every year.
Right.
You know what? God's like, I want to give you a new thing.
Yep.
A new thing.
Yep.
So I'm going to let go of the old. I want to prepare. I want to make room for you in my heart. And I just want that to be the song in my heart.
It's so good.
This season.
Well, I think, we have about a week and a half-ish until Christmas. And I think I was having a conversation yesterday with someone, and we came to the conclusion, like, we have to purpose to stay on top of our mind and our spirit because... I said the enemy wants to own your time and your spirit. Like, he wants to control you, but he doesn't. Like, he does not have that control.
No, not unless you give it to him.
And so you have to literally, on purpose, every moment say, you know what? I have a to-do list, but I have a reason that I'm celebrating, and I have to keep that at the forefront. I have to shift my focus to who deserves it and what it's all about,
Yeah.
So, cool. I love this conversation, Darbi.
I know. I did too.
I feel like I needed it for my soul, for myself.
I know. Well, so I just want to end it with that verse in Proverbs that says, in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he'll make your paths straight. God makes crooked paths straight, so whatever your plan is, submit it to him. Let him be the center.
Yeah.
And I'm just certain there's going to be unimaginable things that are going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Cool.
Till next time.